Here are the stages an avoidant goes through during the relationship and after the breakup. So we're going to use the metaphor of a recycle bin. When you meet the avoidant, their recycle bin and your recycle bins are completely empty. There's nothing in there weighing them down. You guys meet, everything's wonderful, you're having such a great time getting to know each other, everything seems perfect, everything is really superficial. Neither of you know each other that well yet, and so there's not much on the line, there's not much that you're risking. The avoidant feels comfortable because they don't have to face any real intimacy or vulnerability yet, and you feel comfortable because you're getting so much validation from this avoidant person in that beginning stage. Then you reach the next stage of the relationship, and that's where things start to go wrong, because that's where the relationship begins to get real. The honeymoon stage doesn't last forever, even if the two people still really like and really love each other. In a healthy relationship, it actually deepens the love. But in a relationship with an anxious person and an avoidant person, you are going to reach this like steep decline, because you were connecting on a superficial level. You were connecting on idealization. So when that idealization starts to melt away, there's nothing behind it. So the anxious person starts to feel worried because they notice that the avoidant is kind of pulling away some of their validation and love and prioritizing other things. And the avoidant starts doing that in the first place because they are no longer feeling that idealization. They are starting to see their partner as more of a real person with flaws and with requests. This is where both people's recycle bins start getting full. What happens with the avoidant is they start suppressing. Their recycle bin starts getting full every time you have a demand or a request. Every time you come to them with constructive criticism. Anytime you have an unmet need. Anytime they feel overwhelmed, engulfed, suffocated. More and more fills up in that recycle bin, and they are just trying to push it down and push it down and push it down so they don't have to deal with it. And yours is starting to get full because you are now starting to take on way more than you should. You're trying harder and harder and harder to gain this person's approval who is pulling it away from you, and you are also taking on so much emotional labor and responsibility in the relationship because the avoidant is not really doing much of that. As the relationship progresses, both of your recycle bins start getting more and more weighed down and full. It gets to the point by the tail end of the relationship that yours is so full and so heavy that you are just upset and crying and not knowing what to do. None of your needs are being met. You feel like the avoidant is cheating on you or keeping secrets or doesn't like you anymore, treats you like a roommate. The avoidance recycle bin is full, but in a different way. They've been stuffing shit in there and just pushing it down and suppressing it. They haven't been feeling any of it because they don't want to. They want to run from it, hide from it, push it all down. But the more they push it down, the more that keeps coming because they're still in this relationship and they're noticing how upset you are and they're hearing your demands and they're hearing all your unmet needs. And so they keep trying to push it down. But what happens is, just like a recycle bin, you get to the point where even if you're inside that recycle bin stomping everything down, it gets too full at a certain point. You can't fit anything else in there. And whoever's recycle bin fills up quicker is going to be the person that leaves. Usually it's the avoidant because they can't handle very much. An anxious person is going to try to hang on a lot longer, but for an avoidant person, when it reaches its peak point of activation, when that recycle bin is so full you can't put anything else in there, that's when they are at their peak point of nervous system activation. They cannot take anymore. They are so overwhelmed, they have suppressed so much that they're like, I need their recycle man to come pick this shit up right now. It's weighing me down. So what happens? They leave the relationship abruptly. They blindside you because it's been piling up and piling up and piling up, but they haven't been saying anything because they've been trying to suppress it. But they can only suppress it for so long because it keeps piling up. So they abruptly leave, and then what happens? Their recycle bin is instantly emptied. They are weightless again. They feel so much relief. They feel so good. Now for the anxious person, unfortunately, your recycle bin is still full. And when they leave you, it adds on even another layer. So you are even more weighted down than you were while you were in the relationship. But for the anxious person, what tends to happen is the longer they are away from the avoidant and the more that they are working on their healing, they start kind of pulling things out of the recycle bin. one at a time. Every time they have a really hard day that they get through, they pull a little bit out. Every time they feel their feelings, they pull a little bit out. Every time time goes by and they start, feeling a little bit better, they pull a little bit out, like that. And by the end of like 9 months or so, their recycle bin is empty and they feel so good, and they have worked for that. They have pulled all that shit out on their own, and they feel so amazing because they did the healing, they did the work. For the avoidant, however, they didn't work for it. The recycle man came and picked it up, and now their bin is empty, and they're like, oh fuck yeah, I feel so good, I'm gonna go do whatever the fuck I want. So that leads to stage 1 after the relationship ends, which is the relief stage. And it goes into stage 2 for the avoidant, which is distraction. This is where the avoidant starts to distract themselves from having to feel anything regarding the breakup. So a new relationship, overworking themselves, hobby. Now here's the thing about distracting yourself and avoiding your feelings is you are suppressing. So what's going to happen? Their recycle bin is going to start to fill up again. It doesn't matter who they're with. It doesn't matter what person they chose or how compatible that person is with them. It does not matter, because the problem is not originating from the person that they are dating. The problem is originating with them and their own recycle bin, because they are suppressing everything, and so it's filling up that recycle bin over and over. Now here's what can happen in the next couple stages. Stage 3 is conflicted reflections, where they start to kind of have some thoughts about you. And this is because their recycle bin isn't filling up fast enough. It's not being suppressed fast enough for them to get so overwhelmed. So basically what's happening is that there's still room for emotions to kind of come up every once in a while, because the intensity of all that intimacy and vulnerability and emotion from the relationship with you is starting to die down as time goes on. So even though the avoidant is trying to distract themselves, is trying to maybe be with someone new or engage in their hobbies all the time and try to suppress everything, it's not really happening fast enough. They can't really do enough of it to stop themselves from completely blanking you out. And they are going to start reflecting on that relationship and possibly missing you a little bit. But these are conflicted reflections. Basically, the way they feel is, yes, I do miss this person, but like, I don't want to be in a relationship with them. I don't know how to be in a relationship with them. It would never work. Step 4 would be nostalgia. And that doesn't always happen, but it can happen if their partner went completely no contact and the avoidant has really lost access to them. Or if they see that their partner has like completely moved on, they may start to feel nostalgic for their past partner, for their ex, and they might start like romanticizing thoughts of them again. This is especially true if they've been in another relationship where they are starting to have to suppress everything in that new relationship, and so that recycle bin is getting really, really full again, and the avoidant is looking for an outlet to try to feel better because they are being so weighted down in their current situation. So then they are going to start trying to romanticize or idealize a past partner, and it might be you. And the last step is they may try to re-engage, and that's when their recycle bin reaches its peak point of overwhelm with the new partner or with their current life, where they have suppressed so much and it's gotten so overwhelming and way too much for them that it overflows, and they need new relief. And that new relief might be reaching out to you to try to idealize you again, and it just goes in a circle.